So thank you once again. This is Derek. I call this a discussion. I call this a podcast where we discuss so many issues. I think I have about 4 categories where I talk about sports in so many countries, as well as sports leaders sharing their journey. And I think also we pick topical issues to talk about. And as you know, I love nature. So I try to keep track record of going into nature and sometimes meditating and getting closer to nature. But today we have a guest. I've been a fan of her for a long time. I've read about her, and now I was able to send her an invitation to be part of this discussion. So the nature of today's discussion will highlight sports journey of our guest, and then the work she does as international sports journalist. She will introduce herself pretty soon. So as I mentioned, she's an international sports journalist accredited by the IOC and then FIFA as well, where she undertakes numerous sports reporting. So without much ado, we will zoom straight into today's discussion where our guest introduces herself. So who is, I don't want to mention the name, who is our guest today?
Yeah. Okay, hello guys. This is Gitika here. Basically, I'm from India, and at present, I am staying in Korea because I'm pursuing my master's in sports management from Seoul National University. Yeah, so I'm thankful to Derek for sending me this invitation. Yeah, that's it.
Yep, so you have it. I think she's being very modest, but you will get to know when we go deep into the discussion. And I know you've been doing something in international events. I've mentioned that you are accredited by IOC and then FIFA. Can you share with us some of the competitions besides that you have covered?
Okay, so I have actually covered many FIFA World Cups, and recently the Tokyo Olympic. So Tokyo Olympic was something special because this is for the first time I got the opportunity to cover Olympics. So so I went there because I know that the situation in COVID was so critical, but I wanted to be there to cover the Tokyo Olympics. So I wasn't having at that time vaccination. I was not vaccinated, but I took that risk, and with a lot of guts, I went there to cover the Tokyo Olympics. So there was something special in 2021.
Well, and so what's the difference between the Winter Olympics and then the Summer Olympics? Are there any difference whatsoever?
Yeah, difference, of course. Like, of course, the difference is there, especially as a Indian journalist, because in Summer Olympics there are maximum participants from India, and last in 2021 Tokyo Olympics, India has the highest participants in Tokyo Olympics. So and Winter Olympics we don't have much participant because still India need to explore the Winter Games. So this time very few are there participating in Winter Olympics, and but like as I say that we need to improve a lot for winter sports. And well, like in every field of sports, India needed to be developed, but especially we are there is nothing much with winter because we need to explore it yet. Yeah.
Yes, and I also understand very well that most of your coverage is about the Indian athletes, but do you also go beyond that to cover other stories or
Yeah, of
any other
course.
thing that catches your mind?
Yeah, of course. Like because athletics is a very important part of any sports event. So I have covered all the athletic events in the Olympics, and especially I love to do football. I have a that's something which always attracts me. So I love football a lot. So apart from any other sports, I really love football. Yeah.
Yep. So I think you've talked about the international competitions. Are there any other
Yes.
leagues or competitions that you cover besides the international ones?
Actually, I have started my journey covering Indian Super Leagues. Sorry, with the Indian Premier Leagues, which has started in 2012. And actually that time I have taken sports journalism and sports photography like very seriously. Before that, I have started my journey in 2007 actually with the national games, 2007, and then I took it seriously in 2013 when Indian Premier League started, and since 2013 I have continuously covered all the Indian Premier Leagues. And in 2014, India introduced Indian Super League, which is basic football. So all these leagues matches had a very important role in my career.
Well, this question sounds a bit interesting, but what have you not covered then?
Sorry,
What have you not covered? Which league have you not covered?
which
You've
league
covered,
I haven't covered?
yeah,
Okay,
I feel like you've covered almost
like
everything in India.
yeah. I want to cover UFA, but because there are so many things because uh, in India, that we have a lot of competitions, and it's very difficult also to get permission from, like, suppose FIFA, everybody know, like FIFA World Championship is like it's a huge thing, and there are a lot of competitions, and it's very difficult to get accreditation and everything. So it's a very some things are very as you know that we are not qualified. India is not qualified for FIFA World Cup, but then India has the the media houses, like a lot of media houses. So we get considers from FIFA to cover matches, but as much as the priority gets by the other qualified countries, we don't get that much of what do you call attention.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to get a position in the pitch. So those are the things. So I think that I would someday I would love to do UFA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So
And,
there you go.
English Premier League also.
Yeah. Those are the top leagues. Yeah.
English Premier
Anyway,
League also I want.
we'll be very excited. I'll be very excited to see you there covering that as well. But I think you just provided some education that I think many people do not know, which has to do with the number of people on the field covering. I guess they have X number of photojournalists that are supposed to be on the field. And before we move into your job proper and some technical questions that I'll be asking, I want to ask whether you work for an agency, an organizations, or you're freelancing.
Okay, actually, I have started with a news agency in 2007, not 2007, it's 2006 as an intern. My agency was Eastern Projections, and we were working for BBC, DNA, and The Telegraph. And then I have shifted to one local media house newspaper, which is Amar Assam. And then I work with India Today. Then I work with Press Trust of India. I also started contributing to Agency France Presse. Now I used to contribute to ATP.
Yep.
I used to contribute to Daily Financial Times. So, so nowadays you can, so because as I'm pursuing my master's, so
Yep.
you can say nowadays I'm doing freelancing. So still I contribute to all the newspapers and news agency I was working with. So I contribute to all of them.
Well, that's very impressive. There you go. And
Thank you.
amidst all these, I mean, you've mentioned about 8 organizations. It's so many people's dream to get to this level. But before we move on, do you have any hobby? I've seen a couple of videos of you singing a lot, but I don't know if that's your hobby. So tell us
Oh,
how you are able to manage all this pressure that comes with reporting and engaging in photojournalism, writing, and all that. And I must say that I am so much impressed with the quickness with which you respond and give feedback during our very little correspondence. So tell us
yeah,
about your hobby.
yeah, yeah. My hobby actually, before coming to journalism, like since my childhood, I was very much in cultural stuff. Because coming from my mom, my mom's grandparents, so they were basically into cultural side because he was a movie maker, and so since my childhood, I was like born and brought up in that atmosphere. So I used to sing, dance. Then gradually, I switched to journalism and then things. But still, sometimes I like to sing, so just as a hobby. But I was like at the age of 9, I have started singing in radios. So I was I used to sing in radios. So then, yeah, and I have few compositions also, but that's
Oh,
just a hobby.
there you go. So if you don't know now, you know. I guess my guess was right because I was like I saw some of your I was reading about you and trying to do a little due diligence before this interview, and I realized you are really deep into the singing. So that was a spoiler for those who do not know. So well, we've talked about you, Gitika. I hope I got the name pronunciation right.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So, but I noticed you write Gita or Gi in
Geek,
short form. Is it
geek,
Gi?
geek.
Yeah, I think I saw that too. Anyway, so that's just by the way. So we just had a little personal profile about her, and she'll be telling us how she became a photojournalist, and also we will also talk about the work of a sports photojournalist. Often, many people think that if you're a man, then you can take very good shots, but you would hear a lot from Gitika Ogi as she uncover how these work. So we'll first of all start with the becoming a sport photojournalist. My first question is who or what is sports photo journalism?
Yeah, actually, when you like refer to the word photojournalism, so it itself says the word like journalism, which means that the concept of photography should be news. So we must have to uh, deliver the news via photography. So it should be express the content of the photos. So that's what it is. But sports is something, as I mentioned, that I have started my career in 2007 with the national games. So the sports arena, like total environment of sports stadiums, and when there is a sports events, the most important thing which attracts me is the discipline. So that's actually how I started with the sports photography in 2007. And yeah, because sports has that, what do you call, uh, it unites, it's about friendship, it's about reconciliation, sportsman peace, everything. So for to show the world that how sports can unite, it's an important role of media to highlight those things. That's make the spirit of any player, that means the create that what do you call, um, the motto of Olympics, the friendship.
Yeah.
So I think the role of sports journalists are very important, because every sports is important, from the grassroots level to the international level. So I think that's a very important role of every sports journalist.
Yeah,
So that's
that's
how I
interesting.
inspired. And I'm a I'm a member of Assam Sports Journalist Association, and we have explore, what do you call, explore many budding talents.
Yep.
Through our writings, through our photographs. We introduce many players from amateur to elite, like many sports players. We have sponsored, help them to sponsor, getting a sponsor and everything. So I don't think that only a sport journalist can write about,
Yep.
but like with lot of sources, we can help a budding talent to grow.
Yeah. And
So that's what we were doing since last 10-15 years.
well,
So
that's a very long time.
yeah, long
Anyway,
time.
but let me. I've asked a lot of sport managers, and often I ask this question: Are the bachelors? What did you study at the bachelors?
Okay. I basically studied political science. That was my
Okay.
major. And then I switched to journalism.
Okay.
And because after finishing my journalism, as I told you, that I was like too very much into sports journalism.
Okay.
And through that journey of my sports journalism, sports photography, bring me here in Seoul National University to
That's
study
impressive.
the
Yeah,
sports management. Yeah.
that's impressive because it's not easy to get into Seoul National University and the Dream Together Masters program. Very competitive.
Yeah.
And I think you answer my next question, so I wouldn't go there anymore. But can you tell us about your typical day, your typical work day, or your work week? How is it like when you are preparing for such competitions?
Yeah, preparing for such competitions are actually we need, like, of course we start preparation before like 6 months, and and to apply for this kind of international events, we apply a year ago, like 1 year ago.
Wow.
Every media channels, they open for media accreditation, so we apply, and then we follow all the procedures and all the instructions, and then we need to prepare with all our gears and equipments and everything, from visa and everything. So it almost takes like 6 months to get ready for, for those kind of competitions.
Yeah. Leaving friends, leaving family for some
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
That would be a little hard, but that's for the fun of the work, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. True.
And now we get the visa on a typical day. You've gone through the accreditation meetings where you meet other colleagues, you fraternize and all that.
Mm.
It's game day. What do you do? Like, what's the excitement? How alert are you? What do you do? Can you share it with us? How is it like? Usually we just watch the game, but we don't know what's going on. And reporters get hit by football and all that, and people make fun of it and that. You can tell us how it feels like. What's it like?
Oh, it's like super feelings. I can't explain in words. It's difficult to express, but it's like when you are there in the pitch and it's the crowd and everything. It's like it's a super different kind of environment, which, like, give you more strength because we were working there non-stop since morning till 2 a.m.
Oof,
midnight.
that's very.
So
These are things people don't know, you know.
yeah, so we worked till very late after finishing every matches. And so it's give you like it's the environment, like if I give example of FIFA World Cup, that give us the strength, you know,
Yeah.
that spirit that okay,
The feeling of yes, I'm
the
here.
feeling of yes, like yeah, we can do, we are doing, we are, you know.
Yeah.
So that's really like sometimes it's difficult because when you work till late, it's very difficult to get vehicles also to reach to the hotel and those things. But those are manageable things, like what a part of job. But I enjoyed each and every moment
Yeah.
of my journey, and so it's
Well,
it's
no
quite
wonder she smiles all the time. If you really follow Olympics or FIFA, just go there and check her out. She's always smiling. She's always smiling. And one more question, like do you guys feel starstruck seeing Usain Bolt like taking close shots? You don't have to miss. How is it like seeing Ronaldo, seeing all these big stars at the games?
yeah. Actually, of course, like those are superstar, and we won't like to miss any matches of them. So we always like carry like those are like the gears, our lenses, zoom lenses, and everything, like 2-3 cameras. Those are quite heavy, and it's difficult for sometimes for us being a female to carry all the stuff, but we are used to now.
Yeah. I saw one picture you holding really big lens, and I'm like, just holding it that way. Yeah. Well, and I guess you guys have to keep fit then. Get into training and try to train your hands and all that. Anyway, so my next question is, what is the one thing you wish you knew when you start taking photos in the game day? Yeah.
What I keep in my mind. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, like as I said, that it's sports photojournalism. So it means news. So we always choose that particular player who is in the news, who is doing good. So I set like 2-3 cameras, and I was like, okay, with one camera I have to take this player, with another one with this one, with zoom, whatever, like so I choose one player. Like suppose if I have to choose Messi, I'll choose one, and I concentrate on every movement of Messi, each and single movement of Messi. So I fixed it like, okay, I know number 10, jersey number 10 I have to take. So I totally focus on that jersey number.
45 minutes.
Yeah. Then like those, like last time I was taking Mbappe, I was like, okay, like because that time he was doing really good, last in 2018 FIFA World Cup, and I totally focused on, because all international agencies, newspapers were asking about his photographs. So we need to be very conscious about this, who is the leading player, you know, those things we must have to be keep in mind, and then accordingly we shoot.
Yeah. That's impressive. I mean, I watched the World Cup. We just enjoyed it. We never knew people are planning purposely to get certain shots. Now let's get it this way. This is Mbappe. This is France playing Argentina. We have our very own Gitika there. It's a very interesting match. You don't want to miss any action. Exactly. At the same time, you have to concentrate on Mbappe, or let's say Mbappe, or let's say Messi, any one of them. How alert should you be? Do you get carried away by the moments of the game, or you just have to one person? You just keep your lenses straight on that person.
Yeah, in that particular case, I do half, like first half, second half.
Yeah.
So first half take Messi, second half take Mbappe.
Yeah. But in a situation where you have to concentrate on one person, how does it work? You do that for 95 minutes or for the 90 minutes? I beg your pardon.
Non-stop, and it's very difficult. It's not easy. People think that taking pictures are really easy. It's not easy because most of the matches were in the daylight also. And when you take daylight pictures, the sunlights are like straight away comes to you, and continuously, not because it's like you can say, what do you call the guns? What do you call it? Kind of a AK-47 kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
So we
just keep
should,
going.
So we should non-stop. So we should in a safe side that we cannot miss any shot. So that's how it works, but it's not easy because
you mentioned something about the conditions, the weather conditions. How do you manage that? I overheard a journalist talk about keeping track of the settings every now and then, and at the same time concentrating on taking the right pictures. So in situations where the weather change, how do you manage that?
Like normally we carry our stuff because to protect our gears, we have waterproof sealed and all this stuff. So first thing comes in the mind that we have to first protect our gears, the cameras, lenses, everything, because if water get inside, it's gonna be difficult for us to use it. So first precaution is to protect our cameras and equipments, then ourselves. So
I know you've said much, but
we always carry umbrellas. We always carry.
It's impressive.
We get wet because I remember the FIFA World Cup, the final match, and just the match
France and Argentina, I guess.
Yeah, so France.
The very last one.
The last one. So
okay.
So I think it's between Croatia and France.
Croatia and France. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it just match is over, and they were celebrating, the match, and we were there in the ground, and the rain starts. Oh my God!
Yeah.
But we were there just like that. We were.
You just have to continue snapping.
Almost draw like all weighty, all. So, but that time, like somehow I covered my camera and everything, but I was totally wet. I was totally, my friends, even all FIFA officers, all players, everyone was.
I can imagine. They call it the hazards of the work, I guess.
Yeah. That was really nice.
I know you've said a lot, but in your own words, what makes a good sport journalist? It's a very fast, quick-moving sort of field. And you have to be snappy and agile, just like you said, and alert. So, in your own words, what do you think makes a very good sports journalist?
You have to be very sincere, and of course, the sense of news, you must have to be there. But the sincerity is most important thing, because it's tough to maintain the schedule. So that's important, and of course. Before going to this field of journalism, you must have to be like a little bit aware with the psychology of the players. It matters a lot. So you must have to be careful about whom you're interviewing, because their psychology, what situation they're going through, how much they're under pressure. So there are so many things, so one journalist, when they are taking interview, they must have to take care of everything.
Yep. Sorry, but I thought you were going to talk about maybe the lens, the gears, but this is entirely different. Knowing the players and everything, I never thought of that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean to say, like, if you do a interview one-to-one.
Okay.
Yeah, one-to-one, and even if when you are there in press conference also, you must have to be very cautious what you are asking. But that time when there is a press conference, the media managers are there, so they handle it. But when you do a one-to-one interview with a player, you must have to be, respect all the aspects.
Yeah.
You have to think about,
Yeah. So how is it like? Usually with the one-to-one interviews, do you set the camera or you just record?
Okay, like in that case, it's very simple as a photographer. I'm telling here as a journalist, because I used to do writing and do photography at the same time. So in that case, when we do photography, we have also some limitations, because especially in international arena, like FIFA, we are not allowed up to after a certain dimensions, we cannot. Okay. So we must have to respect those ethics, because there has been set like that for some important reasons. So I think that you must have to follow the ethics and rules. It's not like, because most of us, we think that we are journalists, we are powerful, we can write, we can make people, we can destroy people. But I believe that we must have to follow the ethics, journalism ethics. That's important. And as a photographer also, sometimes people rush, sometimes even jump over the, sometimes, like when I was for the first FIFA World Cup, I remember the FIFA trophy was there, and for the first time I was looking, and I was thinking, oh my God, what if I can take a picture with this? Like those kind of things are there, because it's so close to me. Every players are so close to me. Messi is there, Ronaldo is there. Like, how if I go and take a picture with him? How about a photo, like autograph with a photo and like this? So those are like some wishes which we cannot fulfill, because some of the restrictions. Because then I know my limitations, that this is my job. I am there to do the job, not to take a picture with him, but it's my responsibility to take the picture of that present game or from the press conference for the public. So I have to release this picture for the public. I have to release this news for the masses. So that's where we have the limitations, and I think it's important also to maintain that those rules and regulations. I think that's very important to.
I must say that I was a bit impressed. You've been to so many competitions. I keep checking your social media profile, but I never saw even a single picture of you and the so-called superstars. Not even a single one. You can correct me.
Where I always restrict myself, because I wish always, because they are just in front of me, and I was like, oh my God, let's ask someone to take a picture of mine. Then I realized, no, you are a journalist, I cannot do this. I must have to maintain.
So the one that I saw is you guys, the journalists take pictures of themselves like together. That's what I saw, but not even a single picture of you and any superstar whatsoever.
I maintain myself, like not to, because that's matter your reputation, because you cannot spoil your reputation in front of the international arena, because there are so many people who are looking. So then not for the first and the last time, because if you do anything, then next time you maybe not get the opportunity, that okay, that's something is weird. So I think, so I just have to maintain my reputation and everything, that so next time and in future I get that opportunity again and again. So that's how I limit myself, that okay,
that's impressive. I mean, to the young people out there who are still dreaming to be at this position, there you have it. I know there's a lot of social media platforms now, and people always want to trend and go viral. So, okay, let me just try something. But let me ask this question. The decision not to do that, is it moral, is it ethical, or it's part of the job?
It's if you ask as an individual,
is it a job standard?
If you ask as an individual, I will say it's my moral, and I respect my job. That's what I can say. I have no idea about others, but for me, it's my job, and I must have to respect the ethics and rules, and of course my moral.
But which means that the journalists are not restricted not to do that.
No, yeah, they can do, but I think better not to do.
Yeah, I
They
understand
can
that.
do. Even I met a few of friends who were even when they were celebrating the champagne and everything, few journalists went
Oh.
and few have taken pictures also
Yes.
this thing, and they have released in social media and everything. But I think I cannot do those things. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. Besides football and athletics, have you covered any other game like badminton or
Yeah,
tennis?
yes,
And
yes, yes. As I said that I have started with national games, Commonwealth Games, South Asian Games,
okay,
Asian Games, everything. So I have covered most of almost all sort of events. Yeah,
yeah.
all games.
Can you tell us how many photos you've taken since you started?
I don't, I don't know. Maybe millions, millions,
Yeah,
millions of
that's an
pictures.
unexpected question, I know.
Yes,
But
yes,
but at least if you cannot tell the number of photos you've taken, because you talk about even the snap, just like the machine gun going,
yes, yes, yes,
which
yes.
photo is your favorite? Like when you sit back and you look at it and you think, wow, this is great.
it's
Yeah.
it's very difficult to say. Every event has something special. So well,
One
how to
particular one doesn't remind you like it
yeah,
gives you
well,
you take a deep breath to look at that
uh,
picture and be like, wow, I
uh,
did this.
recently in Tokyo, I have taken some pictures of synchronized
Yeah.
synchronized aquatic events. So I felt that I have done justice with those pictures because it was with water, dancing, movement, speed, rhythm. So I think that I have done justice with those pictures. And of course, I have taken very good pictures of Ronaldo, Messi, and Mbappe. So there are some very beautiful shots from last 2018 FIFA World Cup. Those are, and sometimes I also do some offbeat, not only sports but offbeat pictures.
Mm.
So there are many. I have covered so many. You know that in India there are so many religious issues sometimes. So there were massacres, sometimes some riots. I have been taken those pictures as well. So from there, I have few pictures from those incidents, which I think those are uh, those days I was contributing for Agency France Presses, and Agency France Presses took 36 pictures from me from that particular incident in
Yeah.
2012. So there are
And
some pictures which are close to me because I can feel that incident because I was there, and you can feel the pain of people, you know. So I have captured few moments from that particular incident. So those pictures are close to me, close to my heart actually.
yes, so there you go. It's very difficult to tell, but as you can see, photography is not just an art, but it's very philosophical, and it becomes very difficult to choose one picture because all these pictures comes with attached meanings, and sometimes feelings that you cannot you cannot get rid of. So I totally understand that. There are some artworks that I see and I'm like, wow, the meaning is very deep and it gets so close to your heart. So there you go, and there you are. Gitika also told us that she's not just done sports. There've been other challenging ones that she's done, but we'll get to that later in the questions. So my next question, this is a good one, I think. It's whose work has influenced you the most and why?
Okay, I was actually I have just started because I had a lot of passion for photography since my childhood. So I have just started, but there was one first female photographer in India, photojournalist, Humayun Veerawalla. So she started her career those days in 1914, and she was been all over, like all over. So I was like quite impressive that those days, now this is technical, like technology is so high, and we are with digital cameras and everything is there, computer is there. So we don't need to go for any manual stuff these days. But I was like quite impressive with her works, because those were the black and white arena, black and white eras of those newspapers, photos, and you know how difficult to use those cameras, and you have to make a print out of that reels and everything. So I was quite impressive with her work, and I was thought like, okay, if they can do in that era when black and white things, and why we can't, because things are very much easier these days. These days it's very easier.
Yeah.
So it's up to, it's because we need some little much of guts and patience. Patience is very important in photography. So so I think I have that patience, so I am still continuing. It's almost been 16 years I have been into this field.
That's
Never
the age
gave
of
up.
someone's child,
Yeah, yes. Yes.
Anyways, yeah, and I think it's equally tough as you mentioned, and you could have just settled with just writing journalism as your first choice, but adding photography to it even make it more cumbersome, and carrying the equipment and all that, and preparation and all that, as you've recounted earlier. But I know in this field you take a lot of pictures, and these pictures often are of your own doing, your own preparation, your own makeup. How do you protect the ownership of your work or photos that you take?
It's very difficult to, it's very, very difficult to save your copyright and these things, because there are so many software in these days, like you can just remove even the copyright watermark or whatever you can say. So it's very difficult to protect your own work. But I think people, mostly the photographers or professional photographers, they don't do this kind of manipulations. So I think it's up to people. Like if you ask me to copy someone's work, I can't do that. So it's you have to be your own principles, that okay, I have to be, stick with my work. And if I take someone's other's pictures, we must have to give the credit of that particular person.
Yep.
So, but it's difficult to save your things these days, because the softwares are easily available everywhere. So it's difficult actually.
And let's say you've taken a very great picture of, let's say, Serena Williams or any other athletes that's very famous. Can you claim copyright on it? Can you protect it in a way?
Yeah, because once the photo release, it goes with your credit. So I think that any other person cannot carry it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when it already, because the social media, the news portals, nowadays every newspaper has its own news portals as well. So you can read the online newspaper as well as the print. So once it comes with a byline of your name, so I don't think that anybody else can copy that picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this question is this: can you see yourself doing action sports photography for the rest of your career?
I will continue with this because it's my passion, but I cannot say that I will be only with this thing, because simultaneously I am doing so many other stuffs. So of course I will continue with photojournalism, sports photography, everything. But
So many other stuff, like what? The singing?
no.
Oh.
That's just a
Administration?
hobby. That's just a hobby. But yeah,
Other
so
sport
nowadays,
management?
Yeah, like now I'm preparing for some sorts of projects between India and Korea, and there are so many.
Yeah.
We have taken some steps as well. So in future, I think I would be definitely work for the development of the sports, especially for the SDGs programs, which I think that the women who were in sports and they used to play, but for certain reasons, after retirement, you can say, or maybe for some several kind of reasons and constraints, they leave sports. So I believe that I can, uh, I will look after that and to do something to so that they can come back
Yeah.
to the
But
field.
one thing I know for a fact is I've not seen my research is on the sports and SDGs, as you may know, but I've not seen anybody combining sport photography and the SDGs. It may be an interesting project. Maybe if you want to go further with your academics.
Yes, of
I
course.
love being in academia, to be honest. And anytime I hear people speak, I try to put one or two things together to see if it can be explored. So this may be a challenge to you. Maybe you may want to look at that aspect of it. I've seen a lot of people, coupling the SDGs and something in sports, and I think this could be an interesting area to
Yeah,
explore.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So my name is Derek. Somebody's name is another name. Somebody's name is another name. Can those people, or can young women looking up to you, or a young man who wants to be in this field, can they make a decent living from sport journalism or sports photography?
It's actually depends where you work and which country you work. So it's actually vary from different to different places and countries. So I think, of course, like I don't think so. Like it's a very luxurious life, but I know some people who left. Like there's one person who is a senior photographer in India, a sports photographer. He was a bank manager and bank manager of State Bank of India, and he left his job because he has a craze for photography. So he left his convenient life, the comfortable life. He left that and he chose photography. So it depends like what you want from your life. You want to enjoy your profession, or you want to follow your passion, or you want a comfortable life. So it depends.
And
So
is he the person you mentioned? Is he doing well?
yeah, of course, very well, very well.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's not to say that it's very easy to become a sports photographer or a sports journalist. Having said that, can you tell us some of the challenges you have endured, or challenges that comes with the job or the work?
Yeah, of course. Actually, you can say it's less secure because in terms of financially, of course, and health-wise also, because you don't have a fixed time to eat, fixed time to sleep. There's nothing. You have to work day and night sometimes, work for 24 hours. So in that case, the health sector is ignores. Most of the journalists, they ignore their health. So those are things, and financially, as I said, that it's difficult to get a very standard, luxurious life. So you have to be compromised somewhere, and in the very grassroots root level, when somebody starts, it's very difficult because when I was just started with some penny, and it was very difficult sometimes. But as I said, that you need to be, keep patience if you want to follow your passion. So uh, it's times you have to be work hard, and it will take you. But if you believe in yourself and you think that okay, this is what I want to do, and if you do and you persistence with that, and it will definitely click and it will carry you. Yeah, that's it.
And then we've been talking about this, I think, almost 50 minutes now. I would ask the last question, which is your advice to young girls or women or young people in general who desire to be in the field that you are? Any advice to them?
Yeah, I will definitely like to, say this, that they should follow their dreams and keep like hard work, and of course you have to show the creativity, because as you know, there is a lot of competition in the market, and then you have to prove yourself a little bit different than others. So focus on those areas where people haven't done yet. And yes, so with their hard work and their passion and their everything, I think with their creativity, I think they will definitely shine. Yes.
Well, so there you are. If there is something I take away here, Gitika talk about being creative, but I also think that she touched very important points as we've discussed so far. She talked about the fact that you don't just wake up and start taking pictures. I also, from what she said, I've also learned that it is not a lens and the kind of camera that you have that makes you a very good photographer, or it is not how articulate you are to become a sports journalist. Rather, it is how discerning you are when you're on the field. You need to understand the player's mood and all that, which plays an important role for your career. And finally, she also touched the challenges that come with the job, financing, and financing among other challenges that she mentioned. And as you can see, she's well educated. She didn't just get up and then start doing photography. She's gone through the training process to understand the field very well. So basically, I've tried to recap this. Is there something I've missed? Is there something you want to add? Something you want to say?
I think I have said everything. Yeah, almost. But the thing is that never give up. So, unless you reach your goal. So I think you should have to keep that spirit that you will continue. So,
Yep.
listen.
So nil desperandum, that's the Latin word, never give up. And just the past week, Brent Renaud, who is a journalist, was killed in Ukraine. And this is not easy. It is not an easy field, as she recounted. She talked about, sometimes she doesn't only do sports journalism, she also do other events or other field. She's covered riots, she's covered various religious festivals and programs. And as I mentioned, the American photojournalist got killed in Ukraine. And these are all some of the challenges. They go to the extreme to give us very wonderful shots. And we enjoy them, and we post and repost and repost. Sometimes it's good for us to acknowledge them also. Thank you so much for the time. I've learned a lot, and I believe my viewers have also learned a lot. You touched so many things that I'm noticing or hearing for the first time, which is great. And I want to say thank you once again for making time to participate in these podcast or discussions. My aim actually is to reach out, especially to the global south, young people who don't know much about the sports field, that the field is very broad and it can accommodate everyone. I've interviewed sports directors, I've interviewed team managers, I've interviewed quite a number of leaders, both men and women. And today I've interviewed Gitika, who is a sports journalist. So the field is open for everyone. And I bring these personalities here so that you can hear their stories. You can connect with them. I'll leave their detail. I'll leave Gitika's detail down there. You can connect with her. I'm pretty sure if you send her a mail, a genuine mail, no trouble one, she would definitely respond and give you some advice. On that note, thank you so much for your audience. And thank you so much, our guest, Gitika. I'm excited to discuss this very field of yours with my viewers.
Thank you, Derek, for the invitation. Thank you so much for the invitation.
You're welcome.
And you are doing a tremendous job. So I really appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Wish you good luck.
Most definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.